Hello, this is Gerald van Vaas. An easy word this time that I will present you as a demonstration, the word clock. And via this I also will show a bit better the background why we in our focus towards letters and letter position make some choices of how the letters are combining, how they form a formation process at that time, how we make these choices, because we based ourselves upon a structure on which all these letters have a certain position, but you have to sense it a little bit to see to also sense, yeah, but is it in the beginning of the word, is the ending of the word? The reactions, actions and reactions are slightly different also from this structure, and I will show that with an example before I come to clock. Clock is actually quite easy example to make combinations, and you have to go along with the structure to also form these combinations, and I will show you very clearly how that works. The balance itself with all the letters of our focus is really about seeking a balance. Every word is seeking a balance, every expression is seeking a balance, every talk and every sentence is about speaking sentence because we want to express a certain balance, we want to have it heard by someone else, and we also want us to express how we see it and just sense how the other one sees it and see how much they balance each other's out. It's all about balance. We use our focus, as you see there at the left, to see like there is the eye there that we have, okay, we see something. Do we see it from our vision quite well, and how do I make my perspective towards it, or do I have to adapt it a little bit to the left or the right? And these adaptation processes, which in the end are resumed by that black arrow, so I have to adapt at some point or another. If you don't, you have to adapt more. We have a certain direction in A, but in adapting each other by the changes and so on, with the green and red arrows, we know it is progressing, or it is getting a feedback in accordingly. As I follow, and wah, I get a feedback there. That's the kind of approach that you already have in general as a principle. And I wrote down here, the estimation of balance is meant to make us realize how much we need to adapt, so that we understand our own angle of approach and understanding towards the real angle of estimation that we need to realize in order to understand what we already have, what we already understand, or how much we still have to adapt. So this yin and yang is based upon how we adapt at a certain point, and how we have to adapt to come to a right understanding. For instance, if we focus upon wa instead of a, what does that tell us? It tells us that we have to adapt in a certain way between the time processes where it is. Okay, it's there at the right, so I have to focus a little bit to the right, so that we come to the moment now that it's there at that point in the context that we have. There it is, so that we, in our continuation of talk, understand also the right position, and we adapt towards it, and it gets a feedback towards us at the same time in wa. That's the principle behind every word and so on. The way how it's organized in this balancing out is resumed in this scheme in 3x3 positions, where we use something and push it forward what we think what it is and so on, and how we organize it and so on, in also a geometrical order and so on, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, with positions also in the middle, a bit further away, or at the limits. Also defining all kinds of positions within one focus, or within the changing focus from left to right with the two eyes over there, or with the rebalancing effects that says, oh no, you have to limit your focus a little bit. You have to look for the material that works there, or you have to look for the right starting point. All these positions are referring to letters, and these three stages, which will come up in the next word, where the first stage is starting from what I think it is and what you know with your focus, or more a focus upon, what do I have to follow up to keep my focus, or at the end, when it's really in the third phase, I have to refocus a little bit, because actually I don't really know so well where to start from, so I have to pay attention to that point. That's the 3-part angle which comes there, 3 times 3 all the time, and all the letters positions, also the formation process, all come down to this scheme. And I'll give an example how we use the structure of our focus with the first 3 letters, A, T and K. When we go forward, the horizontal also in the background, we go forward, we look at a point that we see. Let's see, that point of reality is that black spot there. We look at it and we, in our horizontal sense of realizing, so we always follow the same structure, we still sense it. It's a bit away from us. It's higher up and so on. So we can still say, okay, I can still see it, so I recognize it, so I have it. But of course, with this horizontal line, it's an estimation, because we really don't know so well where it is, how big it is, and so on. We only know it's there. And that's the mentality of A, it's an estimation. And that's from the start, we start with estimations. So it is, in a way, almost every point is, to a degree, very correct or quite off. The experience goes towards it, and if the line of going off is getting larger, we were getting off. So it is a relative state. We will always experience what it really is by continuing our own conversations and thoughts and directions the whole time. A helping tool is the next letter, the letter T, which is the vertical. If we add the vertical to the horizontal, we already know better how far away it is from us, and that's where we are at it. That's also the combination of A plus T, the horizontal with the vertical. Now I know how much I am far away from it. I know how far I am, and I can already pinpoint where it is. And then I can direct towards it. The second stage is about directing towards it. So getting your attention towards preparing yourself to understand it. So here you can see how our focus works with the combination of A plus T. And what does the K does? The K is the vertical. And the vertical is, if we really focus directly upon where the object is and we can realize that, we can also act upon it. That's the act, just in the way as the English word, but the English word is with a C, and we will add the C also to make it complete. What is the C about? The C is in the third position, in the first position of the third order, in space. It is an orientation of a center point in space, with 3 points, the 3 arrows in this case, the 3 directions. We see immediately into the 3 directions so that we can find its angle. That's exactly what it is, and then we can act upon it. The K alone is that is without the A. Just when we leave out the horizontal line and we focus upon what is this third position is the K. It is only about this diagonal angle. How far are we off already? How far? It's also the third position. It's that where we don't know something anymore. So we need direction. And if we leave out A, it's just that. How much is it off? I need direction. I need to see, okay, but where do I have to look at? That's your attention. That's what the diagonal attention is. So you have already some letters. So here it is that act, of course. So you have already some letters. And if you put the K alone, anywhere where you have, depends on what you combine with. But the focus starts from where we focus. the direction where it is, and the end pointer. It is also these three positions. Depending on where the letter exists in your word, one of these options of my focus will be emphasized. That's how we choose certain reflections of a form with certain words. So they can differ a little bit depending on where your attention is beforehand. If you start from your center point of vision in the eye, or you start from but where am I looking at, and what do I have to follow? It's the arrow, or what do I have here in the end as a result? That's the point. These are the three positions that don't always are dominant at the same time, but that's how we look at it. So I gave you some preparations. Now, without any explanation, I will show you the word clock. The clock, I will have the scheme here in the background as well, so that you can double check where I am, and if you want to learn it as well to see what I have. But already just watching what's happening will already give you that sensibility somewhat. You have this K as a breaking point at the beginning. I will first have the Dutch word clock. The L will give it a shape, give that angle a shape. The O will give that a context. The vocals are always about that. What kind of spatial frame do I have to focus upon? Either Klok will give it this circular form where the measurements on it, the measurements of this kl here, I can use to read the moments that I can make from it. And of course we know there are the moments, and there are more moments. You have not just of this one, of that one, you have various ones, and that's how we read the clock basically. So we almost have our word. With K to it, we also have an extra K, so we have an extra breaking point, almost like the extra arrow from the clock, where in this case we focus upon the results. We focus upon the results at K. What can we read in the results? What gives our attention here as a result when we look at the results? Where the breaking points of these two arrows are. So you can understand clock in this way very well. What's the difference with the English one? You have the 2 times C in it. What is a C? The C in the beginning. Of course, we focus in the beginning on our focus. What does our focus see? In estimating the differences of the arrows. And it describes how, of course, with the extra C in the end, with the other breaking point, which again is an estimation, but this time it's the estimation of its destiny, of its end results, of its breaking points. Where are the breaking points exactly in the clock, so I can read the clock. L is already related with taking shape, but O is related with moments in time. So how can we read the time on a clock? It's exactly described what it is about. And I hope this also brings you closer, not only to understand or sense already a word which I just expressed, but also understand why sometimes the forms are emphasized a little bit better. The underlying structure is always the same, and it can be sensed, it can be reasoned, it can be understood, and it can be found even in that scheme that I have given you as soon as you know how to read it. And I hope this video already gave you an idea how this works. If you don't want to have the theory, just enjoy the formation and so on and so on. Thanks again for watching. So some books there with a basic book with everything together. That's about this size, about 400-500 pages. And it's also split into 2 books with some extras there in the other 2 books to give you some advantage, that it will give you a few examples in which direction you can start to think. But get used to it. That's the first thing you do. You have to get used to before you can sense its positions, and before you can sense all of its variations that come forward with. Why do you need the sensibility and not the reasoning for it? Just like I explained, depends on the positions, and the positions before, after. Of course it will look different when you have something before or after. When you have a starting point or an ending point, the things don't look the same at such positions, and that makes also sometimes different forms, especially also with different variations of combinations and an order of letters, obviously. Okay, thanks again for watching then. Bye.